my mind doesn't like get blown very easily. It's kind of like fixed in place most of the time.
They've been in business for 7 years, and they still don't know what they're doing. I guess a podcast seemed natural. Here's FounderQuest.
What's today? March 20th? It says March 20th for the next 2 months.
So the freeze as a solution to the economic crisis, just pause everything until it blows over. Yeah.
Where that falls down is that like you wouldn't have to pay your mortgage and all that. It's like they wouldn't be able to evict people, but then also like you wouldn't get paid and you still have to eat. So I don't know.
Well, but maybe that's where the tax stimulus comes in. We just, future taxpayers can pay for that.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah.
I was thinking like an amazing potluck. It's just what you want like in a pandemic.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I like the idea of changing our whole calendar system for the pandemic.
That wouldn't cause any trouble.
Let's forget Gregorian, forget Julian. Let's just build a new one. I like it.
The COVID?
The Covian?
I think it was Kodak.
Yeah,
Kodak built their own calendar, and for the greater part of the 20th century, actually ran by it. It's pretty sweet, actually.
Are you serious?
We should. Yeah. We should switch to that.
Oh my gosh. That's so, I don't really think I'm ever going to be like founder of Kodak rich. I don't honestly want to be, but like if I was, like that's the kind of shit I'd like to pull. It's like, okay, guys, I invented a new calendar. Y'all have to do it just because it's money, because I've got it. So here's my calendar. So I should probably clue in our listeners, given the current like crazy state of the world with everything literally being on fire, and I'm expecting aliens to come next week and like blow up the White House or something. We're sort of just going to be winging it for the next few weeks until things stabilize a little bit, because it feels kind of weird to come on and in the midst of all this stuff be like, all right, so we're going to do VC versus bootstrap, go. And it's like, who even knows like if like VCs will exist in 2 months? They might all be wiped out by the virus. Like, you don't know.
It's possible. I was going to say, like, I don't know about the aliens, though, because I think the aliens are probably also self-isolating right now. I don't know if they'd want to actually come here.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it's kind of like a spaceship.
Maybe that's why
I wish I had a spaceship for my self-isolation.
Maybe that's why the aliens haven't actually arrived, because they've been just self-isolating this entire time, like the entire history of Earth. This is hitting us late, so that's why we haven't seen them.
Yeah, they're all like, humanity is a virus.
So the one thing I was thinking about in the past couple of podcasts we've done is like we come on and we do a podcast and we're like, oh yeah, this is the state of the world. And then like we come in a week later and everything's completely changed.
We're lagging. Yeah, we're lagging by a week. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, we're lagging by a week. It's just interesting to me to think about, because like last week I was saying, well, maybe we might be, like my daughter's daycare might be shutting down, something, whatever. Then by Sunday, like my wife and I were both like, we're pulling that girl out. She's not staying there anymore. And then hour after, like we emailed them, they're like, we're closing anyway. Sorry. And now basically like we're like in our tiny little like Seattle, like city house. We've got 2 people working from home or trying to. We've got my 4-year-old daughter's at home. And like, I've been working on this backyard shed for a long time, or it's an office. It's
a daycare now.
Backyard office. Yeah. I spent most of yesterday, like picking up the razor blades off the floor, literally use a lot of razor blades in construction. Like, who knew? And like vacuuming up all the like carcinogenic dust and everything to make it into like a big playroom, because it's like our living room is getting a little tight.
Starr, even if you did none of those things, it sounds like it was still a safer environment than the daycare.
Josh, that reminds me of the movie Daddy Daycare.
I don't think I've seen that one.
You still haven't seen it?
I still haven't seen it.
I know we've talked about it before. You have to see it. It's hilarious.
All right. Well, maybe we'll take this opportunity.
It's not a Tuma one, is it?
No. That's a Kindergarten Cop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Similar premise? It sounds like a similar premise. It sounds like a direct ripoff, actually.
So Daddy Daycare, basic plot line is 2 executives get laid off and they can't deal with their their kids, and they start a daddy daycare, and hilariousness ensues.
Classic
Hilarity
thing to
ensues.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
we gotta like corporatize this stay home thing.
Can you imagine what Honey Badger daycare would look like?
Absolute
awesome,
chaos,
actually.
But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think you just put in some padding on the walls and you let the kids go crazy.
But back to the VCs, like I was reading the other day, just because I've been doing a little trying to keep up on like the state of that world, where people's minds are at, and there are at least a few people talking about VCs investing in some sectors still, especially sectors that are the few that are still potentially seeing an increase as a result of this, like health, obviously, and in remote work and stuff. So
I'm just trying to figure out how we can like make a SaaS that is like hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
It's like you pay a monthly fee and then you go on the website and then your hands are sanitized.
That would be an invention. We are going to be making some hand sanitizer here pretty soon. I've got a surplus of supplies, let's just say. I think.
Oh, wow.
I think we're going to be.
Are you sure you want to be announcing that on the like to the public, Josh?
Well, I'm pretty sure that I have like enough to like share with everyone in the neighborhood. So we might have to go like door to door. And I thought like, it's not only is it a nice thing to do, but it also might actually like help improve the neighborhood's odds of like staying healthy. So it's like, it's a little bit of it's also a bit of a selfish gift.
That's funny. It's like in like 50 years, there's going to be some grad student who's like poring over all the data to try and like come to some like trying to figure out some thesis for their their doctoral degree or something, and they're going to be like, like this one little cluster of houses survived.
Yeah,
like I wonder what's the story there, and the story is a hero with some rubbing alcohol.
Exactly, 99.8% rubbing alcohol.
Oh my gosh.
So speaking of things dying and surviving, I'm wondering what's going to happen with colleges, because my older son's in college and their next quarter is going to be online. They announced that this past week. He's not going back to campus for the next quarter, but longer term, like if this goes on for several months into next year, let's say, like some people are theorizing that it will, does the perception of the value of a college education finally change? Right? I mean, people have been talking about this for a long time. Like, have we reached the point where it's just not worth it, to spend ridiculous amounts of money to send a kid off to college, right? And now that, colleges in the US are like, well, let's just do it all online. People are like, okay, why am I even paying you? It's like, the colleges are like, well, we're still providing quality education. It's like, it's a Zoom meeting. Really?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm interested to see how that plays out.
There seems to be like there would be more competition for online education if the colleges are forced to compete purely with the online model. Although, of course, they still have the upside of like actually like an accredited degree. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like the other thing is it could encourage more of the online. Maybe the online thing will stick in some places more than it is now. And personally, I think it's cool. Like the more asynchronous it can be, in my opinion, the easier it becomes for people who like aren't full-time students to, if they say you want to get a degree or maybe you want to get a second degree or whatever, like it makes it a lot easier if you can basically do it whenever, like work it into your schedule. I think that's pretty cool.
I wonder if like, I'm going to guess that like, if anything, like pandemic world is going to make the value like of a college degree be perceived as higher. Because I bet you most of the people who are working from home are college educated or, have some college. And most of the people who are having to go out into the world and who are really stressed out about that probably aren't. So I don't know. It's like people are going to be like having to fight each other for those like shitty office jobs that you can do remotely at least.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, so my younger son's in high school. And, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do for the rest of the school year, basically. But at this point, the teachers are saying, well, here's some stuff that you could do, but it's really just enrichment because, for the sake of equality, they can't be handing out assignments and grading them because not every student in the school or in the district has access to good internet or has the computing resources at home that they would need to be able to actually attend lectures or even complete assignments. And so basically the school is done for the year. I mean, it's not coming back before the summer. So at that point, it's like, okay, so what do we do for public schooling, right? Because if you want to be equitable and make sure everyone has access, well, then maybe we finally have to treat internet access as a public utility because frankly, everybody needs it, to get an education. So yeah, it could be a lot of interesting results that come out of this particular event.
Now that everyone is on the internet at the same time, like I could see, I'm already starting to see the effects. I think we all are, of things getting overloaded. Like the three of us on video right now are kind of jumping around the screen erratically.
You're going to spend another podcast episode complaining about Comcast?
Right. I mean, our internet's, like the internet's fine. We're just jumping around erratically. Like we...
Remember to tell your children about the times before so that the memory of them will last, will linger on, beyond us.
So like my internet has been
rebuild.
It has been disconnecting a little like here and there. And I've been using my LTE tethering as a backup. But yesterday my LTE was kind of getting spotty. And then we have an alarm system in our house that has a cellular transmitter to like notify the alarm company. And that thing started like going off because it has an alarm when it disconnects. So the transmitter on that was having LTE issues. So I called the company. They said that they blamed it on the 5G rollout. So apparently the tower is experiencing 5G growing pains because they're diverting like 3G resources to 5G apparently.
That poor tower.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers for that tower.
Right. So I don't know what it is, but that's another data point that either 5G or everyone like tethering on their phones is causing some issues. It did seem to be signal related. It wasn't like a bandwidth issue. Like I think the signal was actually like getting weaker.
That's because Joe was standing in front of the dish while he's putting a 5G
right.
in. There's really, okay. So I don't know anything about cellular networks, right? But I find it as a technical person, like a little difficult to believe that adding a new service to a tower should degrade the old service. Like you think they have protocols for making sure they don't degrade their existing service when they're trying new stuff, I think, so, I would assume they would. I don't know either. I've read a little bit about cellular, how cellular networks work. And I have not read that they take I've heard they add, it's usually like they're adding equipment to the tower versus repurposing old equipment. That's why these towers start out with one little antenna on them or whatever and end up looking like, I don't know, like something from Star Wars.
Like a pincushion or like Star Wars. And then they have to make them look like trees so that we don't all realize the society that we're living in. Like if you just took Star Wars and just made everything look like a tree or something natural, just put, just disguise it all. Maybe that's what we have now. We don't know.
I could just imagine like Han Solo flying around in a ship looks like a pancake.
Yeah. Just
I don't know.
Drinking some kombucha.
All that stuff looks tacky. The Emperor likes his vistas. He likes his nature.
Yeah, I don't know what the modern equivalent of the Death Star would be.
I don't know about you two, but I have definitely noticed my performance this week has definitely taken a hit. I'm just, even I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying people who have been working from home for a long time, like we have, telling people who are new to working from home, this is not normal. If you don't like this, don't freak out because this is crazy, for all of us.
Oh yeah.
And that is totally true. You would think I'm kind of used to the idea of checking the news on a regular basis and still getting work done. But this is just, taking it past any kind of normal.
See,
yeah. I mean, who would have thought society collapsing could distract you a little bit?
I know, right?
The complete dissolution of the world in which we live in. Who would have thought that would have any effect? Right?
I normally try not to check the news. I read the news on the weekends. I try to stick to more of a a slower news cycle. But lately, I mean, like I've been checking it like way too much. But I've been like, I'm going a little easier on myself because this is like a historical time. Like this is not normal times. And it's all so interesting. Like everything that is happening is interesting as well as terrifying. But it seems like, I mean, it's not, I'll give myself a little leeway right now, like to kind of experience, I'll look back on it, and I don't want to look back on it and realize that I just like went through it not paying attention.
Yeah, I like that. I have a friend of mine from church. She's a teacher. She teaches second grade. And one of the enrichment assignments that she sent out to her class, to her students, was for them to journal about their experiences during this time. Yeah. She said, because talking to her students, she said, you are going to be a primary source for a historian 50 or 100 years from now, or even your own grandkids are going to be looking back at this time saying, what was it like for grandma? What was it like for grandpa to live through this? Mm-hmm. And I thought that was an excellent suggestion. I like to journal, but I hadn't thought of like documenting the kinds of firsthand experiences that we're going through right now, so that my grandkids could be like, "Oh, that was crazy."
Yeah. I was thinking about that. Too this morning. Actually, I might do a little writing, and I started a physical journal around the first of the year, in addition to like my notes app and stuff.
Like I can imagine like in 50 years or whatever, these like kids sitting around the fire with these old journals being like, oh, like grandma keeps talking about like she's really into like the craft of mining or something. Or it's like did they still use that word fortnight back then to mean like 2 weeks? That's weird. I thought that was like that was something from like 100 years ago. They spelled it funny, huh? It's just
like, how can you have fortnight all weekend?
I know, it doesn't make sense.
We totally need to release a game called Furlong.
Yeah, what would that one be about?
I don't know. But that
a really long piece of fur.
The furlongs per fortnight, right?
Yeah.
So we definitely need a furlong to go with our Fortnite.
Oh,
right?
I don't know. I've never played Fortnite. I just know that like the kids were obsessed with it last year, and I'm kind of assuming that they're not obsessed with it anymore. I don't know.
It's still pretty big.
Speaking of obsessive games, you know what today is? Aside from being March 20th.
It's
not Doom.
No, Doom came out. Doom already came out.
Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Animal Crossing.
Today's Animal Crossing Day.
Awesome. You're pretty stoked about that. I got
my.
Oh yeah,
I got my Switch. It was my birthday a few days ago. I asked everybody. Everybody's like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I was just like, "Nintendo gift cards," because I don't want any of that. I don't want things from the outside world entering my house right now. Yeah, so I'm going to set that up maybe tonight and play some Animal Crossing.
That's sweet. I might play some Doom.
What a perfect game to be released like at this time.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying the same thing about Doom. I've been on the fence of picking that up, but that's always a good time.
Is there a new Doom coming out?
Yeah, there is. It already is.
I'm sorry. I haven't been paying attention.
That's
a nice contrast and options there. You can go with Doom or you can go with Animal Crossing.
What type of person are you?
There you go. So I actually don't mind these like Zoom lag, the lagging and like the Zoom calls, because like my reflexes are already kind of on a 1 second lag. So things like Doom just don't really, I'm just not very, very competitive at them.
Yeah.
And I thought I was when I was in college, because I was on a good college internet connection. And that was back when everybody had like 28.8 dial-up modems. I was like, man, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
I just had a really fast connection compared with everybody. Yeah. I learned my mistake.
You were like those stock traders that are like on the New York Stock Exchange fiber.
Yeah, exactly. I should have like why was I?
Gosh, I'm so much better than everyone. Look at all this cash that is raining upon me. Validation.
Speaking of stocks, my stock pick from last week is up by $1.
Oh
yeah, yeah. Raking in the big bucks now.
$1. I hope you bought 1 million shares.
Well, maybe a little less than 1 million.
Nice. Yeah. I did not buy any stocks. I decided like stock picking is just not my cup of tea. So I'm gonna stick with my boring long term Jack Bogle investment plan.
I think
What was it you were saying, Josh? Like about the risk minimization, or
what was it? The regret. Is it the regret?
You like laid out this argument for why you weren't going to pick stocks.
So the argument was, actually, I wrote a blog post about this on my blog too, but the argument was that I'm like so risk averse that I'm never going to spend like a substantial amount of money doing that. Ben and I were talking and we were like, well, you can do it. It's kind of just like, it's a hobby. It's like, it's for fun. It's almost like fantasy football or, fantasy sports or something. Like, you pick the companies that you think are going to do well. And then it's just kind of fun to watch it go up and down or whatever. But I realized, like, I mean, if I do that and the stock does really well, I'm going to regret not putting more money into it, because I'll be like, well, what could have been if I would have just taken a risk or whatever. But that's not me. I was like, I'm actually going to regret acting rationally. For me is like, just not to, don't do that in the first place. So I decided that I would have less regret if I just didn't do it.
Yeah. And I remember the moment where I actually realized how the math worked on sort of individual stock trades and sort of like how, like, suppose that you had some sort of magical knowledge that was like totally legal to use and not insider information at all. But you had like figured out the code and you knew that the stock market or one particular stock was going to jump by 25% tomorrow. Yeah. Right. That would be like a incredible piece of knowledge. Right. So it's like, okay, I'm going to like invest all of my available money in this. I'm going to invest like $100,000 in it. And so then like the next morning you get a profit of $25,000. So it's like this, you've had this great, like once in a lifetime piece of knowledge and it got you $25,000, which is, it's nice to have $25,000,
but it's also a felony.
Yeah. I mean, it's a felony.
And it's, because there's no compounding, right? Like there's like the long-term part is what makes you the money. So
yeah. And also like you might be wrong. So
right. And then, there's the risk. Yeah. It's still a gamble. I read an article today or not today, but this week about apparently there's on the dark net, which I think is...
That's my favorite net.
I think is just Tor. There are stock tips trading sites. So where like people in the financial industry can go and like share their insider trading tips or sell them, sell them. Yeah.
And there's some sort of peer-to-peer cryptographic thing that makes them tell the truth, right?
Well, it's very like, it's a house of like, whatever, like House of Mirrors or whatever type thing, where no one knows who anyone is and everyone's a cop. Yeah. Apparently the price of entry into one of them is 1 Bitcoin, which at the time was about like $5,500 for an annual membership. And you have to share like, I think it was like a couple, like up to 2 like decent sources of information every year to maintain your membership. So yeah, I don't know if you want to be a criminal, it's it might be a better subscription than the Wall Street Journal. I'm just saying,
it's just, there's proof that there's nothing new under the sun, because that totally reminds me of the Wares BBSs back in the day where you had to download credit. You had to upload some Wares before you had enough credits to download other stuff. So you had to prove your cred first.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, you know what it was called? This one was called, if I recall, it was called StockNet, which is just, I mean, like, I love the names that they come up on these things. Like, it's always like the most, like, it just sounds like it sounds like something out of like Tron or something, right? Like,
what their tagline could be? StockNet, only slightly less evil than Skynet.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. It's the total Skynet thing. Yeah.
And the irony is that it was a dragnet all along.
Right.
So I've got a hot tip for you guys.
Let's hear it.
This is my stock investment tip, which, I've definitely researched this, but I'm just saying Eucerin lotion, right? Because
of the dry hands.
Yes. As much as I have, like my hands get dry, and I didn't think to like hoard that.
Yeah.
Everybody's hoarding this hand sanitizer. But what happens if you use hand sanitizer 20 times a day is you need some lotion.
Yeah.
So we went out and bought that. My poor little daughter has like the back of her hands were all red and she doesn't like putting on lotion. So we got her some like magic socks that you put them on your hands while you sleep and they do a magic spell, which is called lotion inside the socks. And that will, that'll fix them right up. But oh gosh, it's it's just a dry, like chapped wasteland.
I thought this would be good for you, Starr, because like when you're finishing your office, you don't need sandpaper. You can just use the back of your knuckles.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's a great idea. I should do that.
You gotta, in these trying times, you have to be resourceful.
You have to make do. Well, this is all very unfortunate circumstances and it's difficult for everyone, and also like I am more busy than I've ever been in my life because like we've got 2 people working from home and we've got my daughter here. But like one silver lining is that I've really actually gotten to spend some great time with my daughter, like in a way that I don't usually get to. Like usually if we see her, like we're both together with her and that's cool. But I haven't gotten to spend like just like 4 hours a day one-on-one with her before. And it's really neat. Like I'm sort of seeing a new side of her that I didn't really know was there. Like she is really into this idea now that we're like this family who's like all working together to, keep everybody happy, to like keep each other happy and try and like be kind to one another. And I don't know, it's just really great. Like she's really stepping up. And we're getting to have more fun with her. So,
nice.
I'm maybe like once this is all over, maybe I can like figure out a way to sort of, keep that a little bit.
Yeah,
somehow.
It's a good opportunity for bonding.
And it's, of course, as soon as I say that, she's like screaming no. I don't know if y'all heard that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we should probably leave that one in.
Like kids stay in on FounderQuest. Well,
I should probably better go pretty soon because we've got the office needs to be used by another video conferencer.
Yeah, you're rotating. Got to rotate out.
All right. Well, this has been FounderQuest. This has been PandemicQuest.
PandemicQuest.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you are a Ruby or Elixir developer interested in writing for us, we're still doing that. Just shoot me an email. All the information about that is on our blog. Go to our blog. There'll be a link in the top nav. Shoot me an email. And we'll catch you next week, maybe, hopefully. I think we were planning to, but
well, it depends.
I think we shouldn't make promises at this. Stage.
Internet. If the internet allows, we'll be here.
Yeah, if the internet exists, if the economy's still here,
we need some dramatic out music for our pandemic coverage.
That would be good.
We should get some.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, if everything's gone next week, I'll just sit around a fire at Friday morning and just pretend I'm talking with y'all.
Burning your furniture.
Playing Animal Crossing.
with your Switch.
With my, I've got 1 hour left of my UPS. I'm going to play Animal Crossing. All right. Well, we'll check. See y'all later. Have a good one. And stay alive.
FounderQuest is a weekly podcast by the founders of Honey Badger. Zero instrumentation, 360-degree coverage of errors, outages, and service degradations for your web apps. If you have a web app, you need it. Available at honeybadger.io. Want more from the founders? Go to founderquestpodcast.com. That's one word. You can access our huge back catalog or sign up for our newsletter to get exclusive VIP content. FounderQuest is available on iTunes, Spotify, and other purveyors of fine podcasts. We'll see you next week.